おい、なんだありゃ。
おそらくだが、あの島は巨人族の総本山、エルバフだ。
What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be piloting some Captain Kid facing against Zoro. Now, I didn't have a lot of confidence going into this matchup here, but we're going to see how we can pull this out. We ended up winning the die roll, deciding to go second. I think second curve is just superior for Kid. Being able to find like a Basil Hawkins on your second turn is pretty great. But let's see what we can end up lining up here. We ended up keeping our hand, and we got two Searcher Luffys off the top, which means we got a little bit of card selection we can look into here. I'm going to look at the top 5. I see a Basil Hawkins. I also see a 2K counter as well. Both of those cards incredibly essential against Zoro. But I think we're potentially going to grab the 2K here, as we have another Searcher lined up here in the top 5. Again, I already have the Hawkins in hand, so any additional Hawkins are kind of duplicate at this point. So we're gonna look at the top 5 yet again. A whole lot of options here. We've got the Damage Punch kill spell, the 8-drop Kid, 7-drop Law. I really wish that beige was a Supernovas, but I'm sure a lot of people also wish that wasn't, that that it's good that it is not a Supernovas, because that card being searchable would be pretty insane. Potentially just opening it up to allow us just to find all the 2Ks, and also if it was a Supernova's Law, could put it into life, which just being able to set up a beige in life is kind of dumb off of a 9K power body. We're just gonna pick up the Kid here and then pass back to Zoro. A whole lot of selection here in our first turn of the game, really trying to set up our mid to late game. We've got the Gadatsu, we've got the Basil Hawkins, we've got a few 2Ks in hand. We're just gonna try to stay alive as much as possible, try to stay up on life here as we get into this game. Tony Chopper coming down on 3, so Zoro's doing the consistent aggressive curve, finds a Chopper blocker off the top 4K body, gonna pass back to me. Unfortunately, like, one of the downsides of going second is you don't get to see Gadatsu until your third turn of the game. But having the Hawkins right now is pretty solid, as it's a oh crap button in case I need to block something if they start getting hyper aggressive, to start dropping some rush characters. And I could potentially be taking, like, 4 or 5 hits in a turn. But we're going to start with a 5K into the Chopper blocker. Just going to get a 2K counter out of hand. And we're going to play the Hawkins. And then go to end of turn. And we're going to activate. Flip over an ace out of life and give that blocker. Nice little blocker token. Actually was allowed to use it from the guy sitting across from me. He usually plays Yellow Kid. But there's been so many Blackbeard players in my local meta that I think he got tired of it and started playing Zoro instead. Pretty unfortunate that he lined up into me, because some say that Kid has a pretty good matchup into Zoro. I mean, ultimately it's a control blocker life manipulation deck, so pretty resilient against some of the aggro decks here. But C1 attach the lead. We're gonna see a 6K coming at my face here. Gonna look at the top 5, try to find something nice here. Finds the other Chopper. This is the OP10 Chopper. When attacking, Dawn attached, grab a Straw Hat out of the yard. Could use this to pick up a Sanji on the next turn. But this is a 6K going in the lead here. I've got quite a few 2Ks still left in hand. Could also just take this hit here and maybe use the Hawkins for a later block here, because when you're playing Kid, once you start using Kid's leader ability, you kind of want to shave that life off, right? Because you want to be able to use Kid's leader ability again. And so we're just going to take that and put the ace in hand, go down to 4 life. Notably, I don't have like any follow-up Supernovas in hand right now, other than the X-Drake. So if I do end up blocking with this Hawkins, I'm likely not going to have a blocker to play next turn, which might actually end up being pretty bad for me. So another 6K, I'm just going to get 2K counter out of it here, and then let's see what the opponent goes for here. They're going to tap 3, and they're going to play out. They could play like a Rush Zoro. They're just going to play another Chopper blocker, and they're just going to pass back to me, electing not to swing like a 6K hit with the other Chopper, likely leaving up a shut up and come with me here. So we go to my turn here. I end up ripping a Cavendish off the top, so I guess I did end up having a blocker for this turn if I decided to use the Basil Hawkins. But my opponent not nearly swinging into me as aggressively as I thought they would on this turn. So I could just pitch some 2Ks and stay alive here, stay at a pretty healthy life total 4 here. So what we can do is just run it back and play the stand up the Hawkins at the end of turn. So we can use this Hawkins now to just start to pick apart my opponent's board a little bit. So we're going to go 5K into the rested 4K, see if my opponent gives me a 2K out of hand. Just kind of baiting him a little bit here, as I also have a leader swing. So incidentally, not giving away the Hawkins last turn gives me another body on board that I can use to contest Zoro's board here. We're going to swing 6k. This is actually going to lead here. It's going to get a shut up and come with me coming off the top here. Top 5, trying to find something nice. I assume the Zoro player is looking for another chopper. Ends up finding a hiking bear. Not exactly what they wanted to see here. But because they already fired off the shut off and come with me, I could potentially, you know, kill whatever they put in play if it's something worse than that chopper. But there's still 6k swing going to lead here. Just going to take that one and then just slam down the Gadatsu, clean up the chopper, and pass back to my opponent. Luckily, no chopper has been seen. We're going to make sure end of turn we active flip over the top and give our Hawkins blocker again, revealing a beige. Now, a lot of kid decks don't play beige. I'm running 2 of them. I actually might go up to 3. I think it's just a pretty solid card to see at a life. Yeah, it doesn't really do much in your hand. You can't search for it as well. But it's just a really good 2K. We just don't have a lot of great Supernova 2K options right now. Eventually, I want to see if they can like print out that Supernova Law. That yellow law that a lot of the Supernova decks are kind of waiting on. So we can have like a full suite of 2Ks that are more so searchable and also stackable by the law character. We're going to see an attach here on the hiking bear. We're going to buff up the chopper, take it to a 5k, technically a 6k with the Zoro Dawn attached as well. And we're likely going to see a good amount of swings this turn. So we've got a 6k going in here to lead. I do have a 2k I could just pitch away for it. I also have the Hawkins blocker, and I can actually use the Hawkins blocker this turn because I do have that 8 cost kid set up for the next turn here. So the order of operations this turn are use the blocker at some point on one swing, take a life at some point, so that way we can ensure that we've got a face down life to flip over for kid the next turn, and ultimately my opponent will probably be down to 3 life at the end of this turn, which is pretty great. So I'm just going to use a 2k counter to get out of that one here. Notably, because I flipped up a beige, means whatever swing comes, if I take it, I can just neuter whatever my opponent decides to do here. So they're just going to see a 5k swing go at lead here. I think this lines it up pretty well for either a take or a Cavendish 1k, right? So I could pressure my opponent to do more, but we're just going to instead take it here just to shut off the leader. Now, yeah, Zoro can't attack. My life is ready to go, ready to start flipping on the next turn. And I've still got at least a 2k counter in hand and a blocker on board. So now my opponent has to commit to either playing another character to board, a rush character, or stacking a bit of Dawn on Chopper. But if they do that, I'm just going to block anyways. So instead we're going to see a 5k swing with Nami here. That lines up pretty well into the Cavendish. Again, just trying to stay as healthy as possible. I am pretty set up for the late game. Got the kid on the next turn as well as the ace. So I will be able to have some sustain later in the game here. But we're just going to give away the Cavendish to stay at 3 life. And kind of force my opponent to swing with the Chopper at this point. And we'll see if they end up doing that here. With 3 Dawn left, could see like a Zoro come down, and if they play a Zoro, nope, they play a Chopper. So Hawkins being really good at just chilling there. Now I can use the Hawkins again to turn sideways and kind of take care of my opponent's board. And if I wanted to give it blocker again, I could. But there's some mixed opinions on which, when you give Hawkins blocker, you should just block with it, right? Take your opponent down a life. But also, like in a game like this where my opponent just keeps building the board, I kind of want to keep my board up too, right? Because I want to be able to try to deal with his board that keeps just getting wider. So we're gonna send 2k into the 2k, a little Luffy Nanami action, and then likely just gonna maybe pressure lead here, send a few swings at lead, try to clean up a little bit of the board too. So just try to do some really safe swings, just in case my opponent, okay, well maybe we won't do as safe of a swing as I thought we would do, but we're going to 2k check my opponent, and he just lets it go. So that's pretty interesting. So now we're going to go over a 5k into a 3k, just going to take that as well. And now we're going to send a 6k at lead, and see if my opponent decides to take it. They're just going to take it here. And so I really wonder what's going on in their hand. We're going to play the kid down. Kid is going to activate and a trash top card of life, and they just go ahead and scoop it. That looks like they had a 2k, 1k, and a whole bunch of rush threats, but I was just continuously controlling the board. My opponent was down to 2 life. Kid was going to start letting me cycle, so I could start to fill more counter in my hand, and my opponent just scoops it up here, seeing the writing on the wall. Now, I don't typically like people to scoop up so early, especially when I'm recording. I usually encourage people to play it out, but this was towards the end of the night, so my Zoro opponent just was ready to go home, so I completely understand it. But yeah, I'm gonna pad out the video a little bit because I don't know. I just want to extend it just a little bit. Yeah, so got some more kid gameplay coming up later this week. I posted a deck tech / interview on Friday. You should check it out if you haven't yet. And it's also my birthday, so I turned 28 today. Big 28. So that's pretty exciting. So just gonna hang out with some friends, play some One Piece, have a good time. But yeah, if you enjoy this type of content, definitely subscribe. And I'm gonna continue to try to pump out as much content as I can. My typical schedule right now is just like POV videos throughout the beginning of the week, and then like a final fights on Friday. Now there was no final fights last week. It's because I beat the down pair, and was recording my match of me beating the down pair, which was a match I didn't think I was gonna win, and I ended up winning it. Funny enough, it was this Zoro match. So this match I just won. That Zoro was undefeated, and I was the down pair, and I beat him, and we ended the tournament. So yeah, we'll see. Anyways, thanks for everybody for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.